So let's talk Justin Frye. Let's do that. So like I mentioned in the opening, I was watching Jack on Bucks. Great show, by the way. Dude's very good. In fact, you've had him on your
Great
show,
guy
haven't you?
too. Great
Yeah.
guy too. He's been
Okay. So
on my show with the voice of college football. I've not been on his show, but just a great guy.
I will say this: he might have the best backdrop out of anybody too. That
Yep.
thing's epic. It kind of looks a little bit like my Buckeye basement, a little bit. Some of the stuff he's got going on there. But anyways, he was talking a little bit about Justin Fry, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and pop that balloon. Let's talk about it. I think Justin Fry, along with Ryan Day, because I mean, we all agree that if Ryan Day doesn't get the job done against the team up north this year, he needs to be replaced. And if he doesn't do that, the only way he saves his job, in my mind, is going on and winning the national championship. But there are some who might argue that he might be replaced before he even gets the opportunity to do that. Because if he doesn't win that game, he's probably not going on to win a Big Ten championship. That being said, Justin Fry is a little bit attached to his hip now, a little bit. This is year number 3 of
3.
Justin Fry. Justin Fry's good buddies with Ryan Day. Um, they're good friends. It's well documented. Justin Fry is another Chip Kelly disciple, if you will. What I know about Justin Fry is he's from the state of Indiana. So right off the bat, he might be better at basketball than football. If you talk to anybody, she's from the state of Indiana, isn't that right, Dylan Kuhn? You're from Indiana. You're a basketball guy. But he played for the Hoosiers, and then he went on, did some coaching, and did a really good job as the offensive line coach slash offensive coordinator for Chip Kelly at UCLA before he came to Ohio State. I was excited when he came. I thought it was a good hire, but I was not like a lot of the fan base and down on Coach Strudrawa or Coach Stud, as we called him, right? As I've documented on this podcast many a time, I had a great interaction with Coach Stud. He's a he's a heck of a competitor. The dude just happened to have some physical ailments that prohibited him from going out and recruiting and really coaching that last 2 seasons like he really wanted to. And so, did he need to be replaced because of that? Yes, he couldn't do his job, and he would be the first one to tell you I wasn't giving 100% to Ohio State because I physically couldn't. That being said, I'll be the first one to admit and tell me in the chat if you agree or disagree with me. I don't think Coach Stud was the problem when it came to the offensive line. He did a decent job recruiting, and I thought he did a pretty doggone good job developing. At least when you compare it to what Justin Fry has done. I think we've taken a step back from Coach
Huge step back.
Stud. So you agree with me, Chris?
Yeah, and if you remember when we first talked, Eric, you were much higher on Justin Fry than I was.
I was.
Um, he came in, he said all the right things, and I think for a lot of people that was big. I don't know. I just didn't feel great about him. I didn't feel great about what he had done up to that point. Um, yeah, I mean UCLA had some success, but I don't feel that it was. How do I put this? I don't feel it was 100% Justin Fry's job that made UCLA run as well as they did. I think that was a lot of Chip Kelly. Um, and then recruiting wise, I was very concerned about him on the recruiting path, and that's something that I think that obviously we've suffered on. I mean, let's get into. I mean, seriously, let's ask. Where's our Orlando Pace? Where's our Corey Stringer? Where's our, you know, these guys who were just these mammoth guys who just beat everybody in their path?
All right.
Where's that killer instinct?
Okay. Well, first off, both those guys are Ohio guys.
Yes.
Okay. Do you get credit recruiting a guy from Ohio? In all honesty,
Yeah,
you're expected to get that guy though, are you
Yeah,
not?
you're
you're
expected to
expected.
get him, but are we? Are we getting the best guys every year, year in and year out from Ohio?
We got Carter Lowe this year.
We did this year.
Yeah. You are expected to, but when Michigan is up like they've been lately, I think you get a little bit more credit, especially with the culture or whatever they got over there. That's just my 2 cents, though.
We're all kind of like, you did
I'm
break
not
up.
saying it's a great get. I'm just saying that it's a little bit more difficult when the team up north is
Is
doing
good, and they're
well.
competing for your
Right.
talent.
Right.
Is that really the problem? No,
No,
you
it's not
bring
the
up
problem every time, but look at Avery Gatch. I mean,
no.
that would have been a guy that we would have got out of Michigan, but because Michigan is up, we didn't get him. And also
That's my
Justin Frye.
question. Well, my question is this: is the emphasis are the highlighters going on the offensive line? Because in comparison to what they're doing in Ann Arbor, that seems to be where they're beating us the most. Is developing offensive line talent.
Yeah,
Is that so? It highlights the discrepancies we're having at the offensive line. You agree or disagree?
absolutely.
I think I do think that Ryan Day is a part of the problem in gameplay aspects. In the aspect of development, I don't think he is. I think that development is a Justin Frye issue. The gameplay, I don't like how much stretch we run. I wish we were
Mhm.
running more zone. I think zone is easier, quote unquote, easier to block at times. And I think it kind of suits who we had a little bit better. But at the same time, you know, Justin Frye could also go to Ryan Day and say, dude, stop running stretch. So I can't put it all on Ryan Day because at the end of the day, Justin Frye should be able to say, it's not working, let's change it.
Even though TTU and cheated, they dominated the line of scrimmage in the past. This is true. At least
They
the
also knew what plays were coming.
last 3 years.
Makes it easier, doesn't it, Jr.?
It does.
Especially on defense, though. Not necessarily offense, maybe a little bit, but
I think
especially on
offensive
defense.
line is where it actually makes the biggest difference. Offensive line and quarterback. Because think, you now know what twists, what stunts, what blitzes are coming. I mean, if you know it that well, which I think Connor Stallions was, he wasn't just trying to figure out pass or run, blitz or no blitz. I mean, if you figured out that well, if you're going in, I mean, I never played offensive line, but I had friends who did, and they told me that like stunts were one of the worst things ever because you'd be set up for this one guy, and then all of a sudden he and another guy would switch, and then you would have to communicate with the guy next to you. Think about it. You have two guys set up in front of you. You and the dude next to you both know, okay, these guys are going to stunt. They're going to go the other way. You have him. I have him. Because now you know who you have before the ball is even snapped. That's one of the reasons why you do stunts, so that way they don't know. Or you mess up their communication.
I'll take your word for it. Tyler, me personally, guys, a lot of it was poor play calling on the part of Ryan Day. In the running game, countless time we ran stretch to the boundary. Oh my gosh, you're so right about that. That's going to get
Yeah.
fixed this year. I really do believe that
Oh, I
play
agree.
calling issue. Jake, agree. We haven't had those dogs up front that want to mow people over. Um, what about Paris Johnson Jr.? First offensive lineman taken the draft 2 years ago.
Wasn't he a stud guy?
Yeah, he was
I
brought in by
mean,
Coach Stud.
Justin Frye came in,
Or
inherited a first-round draft pick at offensive
Okay.
tackle, and we're
Yes.
supposed to give him credit for that? I mean,
No,
he's
hold on.
from Ohio.
No, no,
Like,
no, 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 no.
and,
Hold on.
and Kevin Wilson, even after Stud, would have been the one starting his development.
yeah.
But take it back. Take it back to the beginning of this conversation. What did Chris? Who are the two names Chris brought up? Corey Stringer and Orlando Pace.
Orlando Pace.
Oh, and I said, aren't those Ohio guys?
Yep,
Paris
Sandusky and
Johnson
Warren.
Jr. Ohio guys. I personally believe. Go back to 2014. Look at how many Ohio guys were on that offensive line. I've
Yeah.
been screaming this for years. Your offensive linemen in the state of Ohio are fantastic.
You look back, Eric. You look at a lot of going back even into the '80s and things. A lot of your great teams, your Nebraska teams, these guys had these Midwestern linemen. Midwestern linemen, not just Ohio linemen, but Midwestern linemen in general, are a different breed.
Well,
I love the linemen out of Ohio.
it's
Every
because you run the football in the
You
Midwest because of
run the
cold weather.
football, you play in the cold. The elements don't bother you as a Midwestern lineman, and I think that's something that we've really lost. And now you look at it, and I don't want to defend Justin Frye here, but he's really got. I'd say he's got to step up his game even more because it's not just Michigan you're competing with now. Now you're competing with Marcus Freeman at Notre Dame. Now you're competing with Luke Fickle at Wisconsin. Now you're competing with Kentucky. You talked about them last week, Eric. You're competing with Kentucky, who's sneaking up into Ohio now.
Hey, and not
It's
only
a
that,
whole different ballgame. We
now you're
have to secure the Ohio lineman.
and now you're competing against Oregon in the Big Ten. Okay,
Yes,
how'd that go for us last time they came into the horseshoe? They ran it down our throats with one play over and over and over again.
over. Yeah,
Um, yes, Jake, I am a big proponent of recruiting in-state guys at the offensive line. And I know that that sounds easy, and I know that we get enamored with these high five-star offensive linemen from out of state, and some of them are worth going after. I
yeah,
agree,
absolutely.
and I don't know what juice Jr. is going to bring to us after the commercial break. It's probably an out-of-state offensive lineman he's going to talk to us about.
No, I already said it's not David Sanders.
It's an in-state offensive lineman.
Eric, leave him alone.
I want to know.
He's trying to do what we call quarter hour maintenance in the radio business. Eric, he's
this is this
trying
is
to keep people on the line, keep them
this is
coming back
why
every 15 minutes.
this is why he's called Jr. in the know. Uh, but Eric, that was piss poor defense on the part of Kerry Combs. Yeah, oh, yeah.
Thank goodness he's gone.
Yeah, I agree.
Had a heart attack every time the ball went in the air by the other team.
Yeah. So let's look at this from the perspective of toughness, right? So Burks is in the chat, and I'll just take it straight. I'll just take it straight at him. So, and I'm not afraid to admit that when it came to what was going on the line of scrimmage, the last 3 years, they have beat us at the point of attack on the line of scrimmage. That's how they've won those games. Ryan Day himself has said how many times we have to beat them running the football. The team who's tougher, who runs the ball better, usually wins that game. Tress
Mhm.
did it, right? Urban Meyer did it. Now he did. Urban Meyer did it with several different ways. Did it with J.T. Barrett and etc. But I think that that's a true statement. If you're going to do that, if that's your recipe or your formula to beat your rival, then it starts up front. And last year, Chris, you and I, a year ago at the spring game, were saying this is not going to go well. This is not going to go well at the end of the year because our offensive line is not on the same par as theirs.
Yes.
Take cheating out of it. You can talk about it. You can talk about Connor Stallions all you want, etc. Whatever.
And
And
I will.
Jr. You bring up a good point, but I'm telling you, just looking
They were tougher, Eric. They were
in the
tougher.
line of scrimmage, their offensive line was tougher than our offensive line. True or
Absolutely.
false?
Absolutely.
Who's responsible for that?
I would say the offensive line coach.
Justin Frye.
Absolutely.
And then above him, Ryan Day.
Ryan Day.
This is a problem number one. If you know what, it's great we got Chip Kelly, and I agree his scheme is probably going to help the offensive line because of things like misdirection, the defensive line actually not knowing our plays, etc. I get it, but if we cannot win the line of scrimmage in that game, then it doesn't none of this matters.
Right.
And so I'm that's why I'm preaching this on May 5th. By the way, happy Cinco de Mayo, everybody. That's why I'm preaching that tonight on May 5th, that we have got to clean this up. And that's why we're putting the microscope on Justin Frye. This is your responsibility. You've got how many starters returning? 4? 3 starters plus we got one from out of the portals.
Transfer, yeah.
Literally 5 returning starters. 5 guys who have at least 12 starts under their belt, right? And many of them have more. There's 0 excuses this year. 0.
But you're right, Eric. It doesn't matter. If we don't come out there and establish the offensive line, it doesn't matter if we had C.J. Stroud out there or anybody else at quarterback. You can't win if you can't win the line of scrimmage. Not in the big games. It's that simple.
I was looking up on PFF, and they give like a rating for pass blocking and run blocking. And Justin Frye's 4 years at UCLA, 2018 to 2021. His pass blocking rating, I guess you call it, never exceeded any of the Ohio State offensive lines, and his run blocking rating at UCLA never exceeded any of the Ohio State offensive lines. So
under Coach Stud.
Yeah, and I get the whole health thing, but man, I wish we had Stud still.
So statistically, JR's even saying it's not just what we're seeing. Statistically, we have taken that step backwards.
Oh man, that. Thank you, honey. Here's my dinner. That burns my soul. That's on Ryan Day.
Yeah.
That's on Ryan Day.
What is crazy is 2022, after Justin Frye left, UCLA had a better run blocking rating than Ohio State. Pass blocking, they did not, but run blocking. So, great hire, Ryan Day, you idiot.
Stop it, JR.
Sorry.
Goodness.
I was the guy that was saying after the Cotton Bowl against Missouri, I don't know if those guys are here or not, but Skeeter and those guys, if you're here, you're welcome for that win, because Justin Frye gifted it to you, because the dude literally went out there and started Matthew Jones so that he could have some NFL development for center. Sorry, I thought the idea at Ohio State was to win college football games, not to get somebody ready for the NFL. I love when they are drafted in the NFL highly, don't get me wrong. But if your job is to win the games, it's not like that is the first job. It's not to get Matthew Jones more reps at center so that way he can get drafted. He didn't get drafted. There's a reason why he didn't get drafted.
That's it.
And he started for Ohio State for multiple years, and Justin Frye didn't get him drafted. So, great job, Justin Frye. Gosh, I can't stand that guy.
Man, this is hurting my heart tonight. Tyler.
The first year.
But, JR, how much is that going to be? Whoa. Man, this chat's on fire. But, JR, how much of that is going to be fixed with better quarterback play, running the football in misdirection?
How much better quarterback play could we get than C.J. Stroud had?
I was going to say 2022 was C.J. Stroud, so I get the arguments for 2023. Don't get me wrong. And Ohio State did have better pass blocking rating than UCLA in 2022. I honestly think what it is that Ryan Day runs too much stretch, and I think that, yes, we do have a good amount of Ohio offensive linemen, and that's great, but I mean, if we're just being honest here, Ohio offensive linemen are strong and powerful. They are not the most athletic individuals in the world, which is fine with me. I don't think you need to have the most athletic individuals in the world on your offensive line, but it doesn't work great for running stretch. I mean, you want those guys off the ball, hitting the other guys, punch right away, knock them back. I I can't stand running to the side and then trying to hit and go the other way. When your momentum is taking you one way, you're supposed to lean and go the other way and hit somebody. Your momentum's already going the other way. You're working against yourself and the other guy. I don't get it. I'm okay with stretch every now and then, don't get me wrong. But when it's every single, I can't understand when it's every single time. I can't get it.
So I want to ask, Eric. We've talked about the past and the philosophy of Ohio State was built to compete for national titles, whereas Michigan was built to beat Ohio State.
Until last year.
Okay. Do we think the change in philosophy is partially to blame for what we've gone to on the offensive line?
Yeah. It's. I
Do we
think
need to get more back to a grassroots physical mentality
offensive
than
line is a mentality.
it is? And I
It's
don't feel that we've got that physical mentality that we had in the past. We don't have guys who want to
all right.
honestly rip your
I'm
head
just
off
gonna.
and crap down your throat,
I try to be super positive on this podcast, but I tell it like it is. I tell the truth. Last year, practice number 2, I was there,
Yeah.
and
And
let
you
me tell
told
you,
me how much trouble we were in.
I told you, I told everybody. I came on here and I flat out told everybody there's some things I don't like that I saw. Can I just be straight up honest with you? Our offensive line last year was soft.
I think
I
that's
saw
given a
I
benefit of the
saw it
doubt.
in practice. When you can't even do stretching, you can't even stretch at the beginning of practice without taking stretches off. I'm going to stretch and then I'm going to just, or how you do your leg raises and your suicides and everything through the line. I'll do it for 5 yards and then I'll just go for
Well,
10.
didn't you say there was a certain tackle who was frequently taking
Yes.
plays off?
Yes. Constantly. It upset me to no end. And some of those guys are back. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, they had great off seasons. That's great. I'm glad you can lift 5 more pounds. I'm glad your body fat's down another 3%, 4%. Lord knows I need to get mine down a lot more than that. But if you don't have it between the ears here and it's not in your heart, doesn't matter. Offensive line is a mentality. So I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but I'm telling you straight up, guys, we're having a tremendous offseason. Yeah, your offseason national championships. I don't see any trophies in a trophy case that says you won a national championship for your offseason. They don't exist.
Right.
Okay? So what I am saying is this. If if Justin Frye can't light a fire under their butts and we don't see a different physicality from this offensive line in those first 4 weeks when we go to Eugene, Oregon and we play the Ducks, do not be surprised if we get beat.
And if we do, Justin Frye should not be there for game 5. I'm going to say it right now.
I'm not against that either. I'm not against that. Let me know in the chat. Question. If we lose in Eugene, Oregon, should Justin Frye be fired?
If it's anything like that Missouri game.
You JR, you agree?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, if it's anything like that Missouri game, yes. If the offense puts up, I mean, I don't think this is going to happen, but if the offense puts up 40 points and, Lathan Ransom falls down again and we lose, by giving up 50, then no, probably not. I think we're probably having a conversation about Larry Johnson then, but not saying we fire him, but
I don't disagree with Rob right there. I said that from the go. He should have been the first guy out the door.
him and Corey Dennis should have been holding hands.
Yep.
Skeeter, is this you? I'm assuming this is you. Let me know if this is you. What if you lose 65-53? Well, first off, that's not going to happen with this defense. I
It's
promise
going to
you.
be the Utah game all over again.
No way. There's
No, there's no way.
No
No,
way.
I know. I'm just saying, if it was that score, like, my heart would be racing like the Utah game.
All right. So Tyler said, honestly, yes, he thinks we should fire him. And then Tyler agreed with that. There's no way we're giving up 65 points.